There we go. All right, guys. Hey, Shannon.
I am so excited to be here, everyone. This new fancy technology that the hotel has is amazing. It just might be a little bit challenging when we get to Q&A to be able to hear the questions because the microphone's not super loud. So hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. And then on the other side of it, when we finish, if you have questions and things, Shelly can just repeat them if I can't hear it. So, like Shelly mentioned, I'm so excited to be speaking at Wedding MBA next year. It will be my 15th time attending Wedding MBA and my fifth time speaking. So, I speak in both the venue track. Venues tend to be my sweet spot of who I work with the most often. But I also do general education, and the presentation for that is going to be about reviews. So, if you're coming, make sure you come stop by. But today's presentation is a little bit different because one of the things that with my company Wedding Venue Map, similar to Shelly, where like I kind of live in that space in between the couples planning their event and the vendors and businesses that we work with and that we represent. And so we've got an amazing B2B community. I'm based in Orlando, Florida. So we've got an awesome community that's similar to the kinds of things that Shelly's doing. Like we do local networking events and things like that. And one of the challenges that seem to be as the markets continue to saturate and things start to grow is that, I believe that referrals can be the backbone of your business. That like there's such an opportunity when you have relationships and things for the people in there and in your community that you can build your business on the back of referrals. So today I'm going to give you all of the reasons why people don't refer you now. If Shelly hasn't fully warned you, I talk way too fast. I drop truth bombs all over the place, and I love cuss words. I love them. Hashtag my podcast is the wedding sassholes. Like, get ready for it because it's coming. But we're gonna start with ultimately you're gonna get a little bit of a spanking today because there's a lot of you who are probably making some subtle mistakes that you just didn't know that you were making, and it's easy fixes of all the different things that you can do. Ooh, I also really love gifts way too much. So just prepare yourself. So this session is going to be a little bit uncomfortable because it's requiring you to take like a look inside to say, God, do I do those things? Or am I really do I make the mistakes or am I really doing as much as I can to be growing that referral base? It's going to be a lot of that's not me. Well, if you have friends in the room, call each other out on each other's bullshit because we all know you look internal and you're like, I don't do that. And it's like, yeah, you do. You probably do. And don't roll your eyes at me because I'm sure that you're going to be like, I don't really need to be doing all of this. In every market across the country, every category is going to continue to grow. Our industry is one of the lowest barriers to entry in terms of other than a venue that has costs and big costs. You could wake up tomorrow and decide I want to be a wedding planner, slap up a website, create an Instagram and go. And it happens in every category across the country. Some of what I'll say is a little shocking, things you've never thought of. And so the ultimate goal today is to change what you've been doing. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting it to be different. So you ready? I'm about to load you up. You good?
Yes.
All right. So, why referrals actually matter when it comes to your business? See, like when I started my career in the wedding industry, I'm really good at sales. I love the thrill of the kill and selling, but I didn't have any leads. And the company I worked for was super cheap. I was an employee and he didn't want to spend the money to get leads. So I was like, well, where do I find these people to just come and find me? And I knew referrals would be a big piece of that. So when referrals come into your business, a few things about them that make them better leads and stronger leads. Overall, they're way more qualified. The person, the company, the previous client that refers you, they usually pre-qualify a little bit, right? So let's say you're a cake baker who also does cakes and dessert bars. Well, if I have a bride that comes in and she's like, I only want cake, I don't want desserts, and that's like your specialty, then I'm going to qualify them before I send them your way. Referrals also save a lot of time. I think when a referral comes in, people are a little bit less likely to ghost and they make their decision faster because instead of doing the big deep dig that they're doing all over the internet of 14 different, companies in every category, they're really narrowing it down to the few that have already been qualified for them. And referrals have almost triple the conversion rate over Google and internet leads, which is shocking, but true story and true statistics. The other thing about referrals is that it's precision targeting. If you've got a venue in your market or a planner and they refer you a lot, you're probably not the only one in the category that they're referring, right? Like it'd be a little naive if you believe that. They're probably referring a few people, so they're targeting specifically based upon the client, whether it's their personality or, their budget. It's a little bit more specific in terms of who's getting to you through a referral. There's also the trust factor. I mean, I'm a massive foodie. Well, I love food. I travel to different cities just to eat. That's it. That's all I do. So if you wanted to come to Orlando and to ask me what restaurant should I eat at, damn, I can give you the curated list because I've eaten it as many. We go on a food adventure every single Friday night. My boyfriend and I call them food adventures. We try new restaurants and try new places. So there's trust built. When a referral comes from someone, it's already implicit and comes through. Last up is the real reason, right? Money, 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 money. We all want to make more money, and referred customers, they're less likely to like not book you, and they have 25% higher profit margins. And that comes from the trust. It's an easier upsell when the lead comes from a referral. So let's use floral as an example. They come in and they're like, here's my budget, and they really just want bouquet and a small centerpiece. But when it comes in from a referral, it's easier for you to kind of plant those seeds to upsell them into a bigger centerpiece and maybe an additional ceremony or arrangement, decor, and things like that. So ultimately, this is why referrals should be part of your marketing plan. And referrals influenced 50% of all purchasing decisions. Isn't that wild? 50%. Because, and when we use the word referrals, it could be a direct referral, it could be an influencer on the internet. Who else has gotten sucked into TikTok and Instagram and bought crap they shouldn't have? Come on. I can't be the only idiot out there, right? So, but it's like I've seen that person or I've been following that company. There's a podcast I listen to, and when she starts talking about products, I'm like, click, 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 buy. I'm like the biggest sucker because the trust is built. So people influence people. Nothing influences people that more than a recommendation from a trusted source, right? It has to be trusted, and the trusted referral is the holy grail of advertising. You can spend all the money in all the places, but if you do some of the things that I'm going to teach you today, you will literally boost the amount of referrals that your business gets. So why aren't people doing more referrals right now? See, I spend my whole life with my ear to the ground, right? I have 405 members within our wedding venue map group, and I just listen. I listen to the venues, the planners, and I'm like, girl, give me the tea. Like, what is the dumb crap that vendors are doing that you're like, I don't refer them anymore? And I hear I hear every story. I joke and say, I bet Shelly's the same way a little bit. We end up as like the hub of information of the industry. Something happens at a wedding on a Saturday night. I know about it by Sunday morning. And I don't even work the weddings anymore, right? So I'm going to take all that information and all those things that I have learned, and I put all of them into this presentation. So let the countdown begin because we're going to do 10 total. Number one. The number one reason people don't refer you is it's about giving to get. See, because what a venue, a planner, another pro that you're in that room with, what they're looking for is mutually beneficial relationships, right? We want friends with benefits, right? Like ultimately, we want to see it's got to benefit two people. If one person is only constantly feeding the other person referrals, what do? You stop referring them because you're like, this is the worst dates I've been on. I just keep buying and nobody's putting out. Sorry, inappropriate, but Shelly already knew it when she brought me in and told me you guys would be ready for it. You've been warned. All right, so how do we fix this? So I want you to figure out, when you look at your sales systems, I want you to do a few different things. Start asking booked clients before they book and after what else they need help with. I hear things like we have a hair and makeup artist member, and she's like, I'm the last thing booked every time. And I was like, can you prove me wrong and start asking? Start asking, what else do you need help with? Well, she was shocked because in the world we live in today, the average, older Gen Z, they are not booking hair and makeup last. They spend half their life watching hair and makeup videos and tutorials and TikToks and YouTubes. And it's actually more important than it used to be. And so when she started asking, Like, what else are you still looking for? There was one time that they didn't have a DJ yet. They didn't have other things because today's generation is choosing their importance and booking in that order. So start putting into your plan that, like, when you're either doing a sales call, are there any other vendors that you need help with referrals for? Open that opportunity to open the door for the people who are sending you business. A few other easy things you can do. You can do a spotlight blog about them on their company. You can collab on Instagram. You could do an Instagram live together. There's ways that you can kind of give back. You could post about them on social media. If you have venues that are referring you a ton of business all the time, like start posting about them, talk about them, make a reel that's a tour about the venue, the planner, spaces like that. If you've got photographers that refer you a ton of business, make an entire reel on Instagram that's just pictures from their weddings and all the different venues you work at, right? Find ways that you can give back. The easiest thing to do, forget people over there rolling your eyes. I'm not in the room, so normally in the room I can see this. You're rolling your eyes, being like, have her tell me to make one more freaking reel on Instagram. I know. But ultimately, you can just share their content. If they post good stuff and pretty things and like a new feature at their venue, hit share to stories and talk about it and hit share, right? That's helping to promote their business. And then the other holy grail in the world of SEO is backlinks. Right? If you want to boost your Google ranking and you want to help them with theirs, build a backlink to their business. You could even have like on the bottom of your about page, you could put in just a list of like a few of our favorite vendor partners and put a backlink. Like you can do some such simple things. You don't have to write an entire blog post. I don't have a blog. Ugh. I get it. It's fine. But you just have to find ways to be a giver. It can't be just you receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving and you not giving back. Because truly, my venue partners, that is the number one thing they say is that like I've been giving and giving and giving and giving, and they don't do anything to help me back. Number two, your slow response time. I'm going to assume that Atlanta's similar and Georgia is similar to Florida, that it is wedding season. So, first of all, I commend all of you for even coming and making the time for networking and education in the month of November. Like, huge. But the part of the problem is when someone refers you and you don't jump on it and you're not responding fast enough, it reflects poorly on the referrer, right? So what the expectation is from a client and your couples, especially in the wedding industry, because they're young, though they expect you to just be all day, every day, not paying any attention to what's happening around you and just on your phone, everywhere you go, everything you do. It's not realistic. So here's a few easy fixes that you can make within your company. One, you can hire admin help. I know that sounds easier said than done, but my admin started at 5 hours a week. That's all she did. 5 hours a week. She spent an hour a day organizing and managing my inbox. Anything that was a fast, easy reply that she had access to, she took advantage of it and replied. She would star the things that I had to reply back to so that when I went in, all I had to do was touch the start stuff. In an hour a day, she was clearing my inbox of all the trash. She'd put anything that I should probably unsubscribe to into a folder called unsubscribe with a question mark. So once a month, I could go and check those and unsubscribe. You would be shocked at the world of how much your life can change by having support. My secret tip for this is I went into the mom groups on Facebook. There's a million of them. If you are a mom, you're probably in them. But there's so many mom Facebook groups. And I just kind of like posted and was like, I'm looking to find a like virtual assistant admin support. And Kate has now been with me 5 years. She does 20 hours a week now, and she's the lifeline of my entire company. So go and find yourself help to be able to reply back to leads, things faster. Number two is learn how to prioritize your inbox. Instead of responding in order, which I think sometimes we like start at the top and work our way through, figure out from a time management standpoint how you can triage. Meaning like, I need you to do like leads first, this second, or upcoming events this weekend first, leads second, whatever it is, you have to have like an actual plan on how to prioritize all those things that are going to be popping in your inbox. You can also set really clear expectations. And what I mean by that is if you've got partners that refer you a lot, you can let them know, like, listen, on average, when a lead comes in and it's season, new lead comes in, it usually takes us 2 to 3 days to reply. And we're working on making that faster. But then I, as the referrer, will start telling my clients, listen, reach out to them, but it might take them a few days because they're, a small business and they're a small team. And the clients are like, oh, okay, because I've set proper expectations. But if you don't teach your referrers how to refer you better, that might be part of the problem. Next up is to use an out of office. I mean, I love you people, and you're all working so freaking hard and you're working all weekend, every weekend. I have florists that on Wednesday, I think the flowers get delivered and you guys start processing it. I watched a florist clean buckets and wanted to cry for her. God bless you all and the things that you do. But you've got to start utilizing your out of office replies when you're legit not going to respond back for a few days. Like my out of office will hit for Wedding MBA Saturday morning. That's like, I'm in Vegas for a week. Kate will be monitoring my inbox 3 times a day. But ultimately, if you're like desperate and you need an answer from me immediately, you better text this number because I'm not coming in here to help you. So use that out of office to set expectations. I have a few amazing coaching clients that I've worked with that they set it every Friday. Every Friday, they put it up that says, hey, we're out of the office for the next 3 days, working events. You can include things like follow along on our Instagram stories. Come follow us on Instagram. Or here's the venues we'll be working at this weekend. So they're like, oh man, that's my venue. They work there, right? There's things you can do with that. Also have an FAQ page on your website. I know that seems silly, but I think the more questions you can pre-answer from clients that they might ask you, it's really helpful for you to just like build that FAQ page and think, what are the questions people ask me all the time, the most frequent, and put them there. Because then that way, when someone emails you and it says Friday and you're on site at an event and you know that that question is already answered there in detail one time, you sit down and write it, you can just send them the link. Hey, I'm out on an event, but here's the link to the FAQ page, so it's all there. You can also set up things like an auto reply from your contacts, some kind of automation that they fill out the contact form on your website. And then from the contact form, it sends them the pricing, the packaging, the next steps. So it doesn't look like it takes 3 days for you to reply. Last step is a little more complicated, but you can have resources over on your Instagram, a blog, a vlog, where you can kind of share those tools and things like that. But ultimately, your lack of speedy replies is hurting your business. And people don't want to refer people that take too long to get back to them. Ooh, number 3, this one hurts. Get ready. Get ready. Number 3 is your digital presence sucks. I said it. Okay? I said it. I don't know what to tell you. You haven't touched your shit in a while. You're busy doing events. You don't have time to work on the business. You're too busy in the business. You look bad online. You just look bad. So here's what, when I refer someone to you, here's where they're going to look. The first thing they're going to do is go to Google and they're going to type you in. If they're under the age of 35, they're actually going to go look up your Instagram first. We've tested this. I do about 30 wedding shows a year in my market, and we did a study this year, and the like actual statistics are if they are under 35, the number one place they go to look about your business is Instagram. Does that make you want to die? Like that's how they're searching you. It hurts, right? So here's the places that people are looking. Your Google business listing, because when they Google you, that's what comes up first, right? What that looks like on the right. Your website, Instagram, Facebook's a little bit less. And I put these in order of importance. But Facebook, the moms are on Facebook for sure. The oldies who've been in the industry a long time, we like Facebook more than Instagram because we've been doing this a long time. But the young munchkins getting married, that's where they're spending their time. TikTok is important, but it's not as important yet. Based upon survey data, it says they're using it for inspiration and ideas and tips. They're not currently searching for their vendors on that platform. Doesn't mean they don't find vendors there. If you're killing it on TikTok, don't stop. But like, if you're like, I haven't dabbled there yet, it's okay. Let's up your Instagram game. Last up is LinkedIn. I only put LinkedIn on here because it really matters if you're trying to do corporate also. If you're social or wedding only, then LinkedIn doesn't matter as much. Okay, how do we fix this? You need quality content. I need you to stop putting ugly shit on your feed. Bad cell phone photos, terrible lighting, blurry things. Now, what you put on your stories, who gives a crap? It's 24 hours and it's gone. but I need it to look professional. Like you need to look like a pro. We're carrying around these freaking things we have now are the fanciest cameras that could be. So like no excuse, like I can't get pictures from a photographer. Well, learn how to use your phone better or hire someone that knows how to do it on your team to come out and capture content. Second is consistency at a bare minimum. I need you to post on your Instagram once a week. Like, that's sad. If you're not doing that, you should punch yourself in the face right now and we'll keep going. But like once a week. Because think about it. So let's say you work at this venue all the time and they're like, oh, go check that person out. And you're like, it's season. I don't have time to do it. Fine. But now I'm the bride and I go open your Instagram and I'm like, God, they haven't posted in like 3 weeks. Are they even still open? That's my first response. Right? So once a week is your bare bones minimum. Should you do more than that? Yes, but like let's set a realistic goal if you're doing nothing right now. Make sure when you're on platforms like Instagram, I want you to make sure you're tagging the location, right? And then who else worked the event. Now I know this is a little more complicated and it's easier if you had a planner who maybe gave you a timeline so you know everybody on there. But make sure at a bare minimum you're tagging the location, the planner, and the photographer. If you're a florist, like, okay, maybe you don't know where they got the dress from. Cool. But you should be crediting the photographer because it's their damn photo. If you want to work at the venue more, highlight that you worked at that venue. And if there was a planner who put all that shit together, make sure you give them credit where credit is due. Not that you shouldn't tag everybody. If you're going to post a picture of the cake, tag the cake people, but like you don't have to tag hair and makeup in a cake photo if you're a cake person, if that makes sense. The other things you can do is the about page and the contact info on your website. God willing, can you please, if you do nothing else after this session, go to your website, scroll to the footer on the homepage, and make sure that your email address and your phone number is in the footer. Unfortunately, the world of web design has actually trained the world that that's where I should go to find the fastest information to your email and to your phone number. So go put those there. Get the contact information where it's fast and easy for people to find it. And also take a look at your about page. It's actually the number 2 most trafficked pages on websites is the about page. Crazy, right? So like, do you have one? And if you do, tell me about you. Like, let me see who it is. Make sure it looks good. Make sure, oh God, photographers. Do you know we had a photographer in Orlando who had a cell phone photo on her fucking about page? Like you are like, can you just set it up with a tripod and click a button? Like, get a better photo of yourself, please. But you have to keep that in mind. Why would I give that person $3, $4, $5,000 to shoot my wedding when they don't even have a good photo of themselves on their website? Pricing and package info is also what they're looking for. And you should really review and update your Google business listing. So let me give you a few really specific tips about Google business, because I think a lot of us set it and forget it on Google business, other than we ask for reviews, I hope. But I want you to go back and like look at your Google business and make sure this is a DJ from Chicago. I embarrassed him on a stage full of people, but I asked for permission to embarrass him first. So he doesn't mind. It's all fixed now. But when I did the screenshots for this presentation, I went on and he didn't even have his phone number on the Google business listing. So can you go in now and please complete all of your information? There's actually sections now for you to add your social media links and stuff like that. Google Business constantly ups the game, right? So that's one. The other thing is I need you to respond back to all your reviews and do it using sexy keywords. You can cheat with ChatGPT. Shelly knows a decent amount about ChatGPT. I could do a whole class on how to just use it for reviews. But all you have to do is go into ChatGPT, say, write a polite and professional response to this review, copy paste it in, and they will literally write the whole freaking response. Then think through what are your keywords. If my keywords are best Atlanta DJ, or I want to get known that I work at this venue all the time, like shove your keywords in wherever you can, because Google actually reads the keywords in your review and that affects your Google ranking. No joke. Like proven from the algorithm. Next up is your photos. So here's my secret Google business listing tip. If you're a venue, stop listening right now. Somebody earmuff all the venues so they don't hear the things I'm going to teach the vendors. Okay. So if you're a venue, just, scroll Instagram for a second. If you're a vendor, this is life-changing. So one of the things you can do when you write a review for someone else is you can add images to it. So let's say I'm a cake baker and I work at venue X all the time. I would go and write a Google review for the venue I work at. We love working there. Here's what we love about it. And then you're going to add images to the review. Every image that you add to that Google review goes into their Google business listing. So freaking sexy. Now,
You on that one.
yep. So level it up one more, drop your logo in the bottom right-hand corner. See, because when you click see photos, you want always the images. You can upload images to your own 100%. You should be uploading once a month. You should go into your Google business listing and add some of your new photos. But so it should stay fresh, right? You shouldn't only have like, it shouldn't say 2 years ago with the last photo that got uploaded. You want it to be fresh. But the other thing that's really important about these Google business images is you need to be really mindful with the file name. So what I mean is I right click save as this photo and it was 2020 10 15. Well, guess who's searching for that on Google? Nobody. So what you want to do is I would have changed this photo to say like, my company name. So in case somebody saves that photo, so I change it to charisma entertainment the venue name. So that as you're uploading it, then when somebody is Googling that venue name, that image could potentially pop up. Here's all these things that you should be doing. You can edit profile, add photos, all your services. You can answer Q&As. You can post blog posts or specials, or if you're hosting an event, you can put events on there. There's so many things you can do on this. If nothing else, just like at least put on there to like once a quarter, go in and look at it and touch it and go through. And so this is what I was talking about, adding photos onto their Google listing. When you write a review, you can add a photo. So this is a venue in Orlando called Canvas. I hosted a massive event there. So when I hosted the event there, kind of like Shelly's doing at the hotel that you guys are at today, I wrote them a review and I added the photos to it. Now, my Google account is called my name and my company name. So now if you go on to their listing, it shows up that I posted it there. This specific image, this event was now, God, it was probably 3 years ago now. This specific image has hit 2.6 million views. Hear that one more time. 2.6 million views. So imagine if when the photographer sent me these photos, they had their logo in the bottom right-hand corner. They didn't. But like, whatever, it's fine. So, but that would have been eyes. I know. Who right now is dying on the inside because you haven't looked at your Google business listing in like 10 years? Put it on the to-do list after seasoned, maybe on your 2025 project list. Okay, number 4, why nobody refers you, your reviews are lacking. So that usually means you don't have enough, or they're generic, they're not specific. So it's really important when I send someone to you, one of the things they are evaluating are your reviews. They're going to do that quick Google search of you, and they're going to go look and see what other people have said. So here's the things they're considering. How many reviews do you have in terms of quantity? As a business, it's really hard sometimes to figure out what makes you unique and different. My business partners who own a venue in Texas, they have like 400 Google reviews. Well, every other venue in their area has less than 100. So that ended up being their biggest differentiator, that people come in and be like, you have so many reviews. They've been open the same amount of time. They just work harder at it. So having a ton of really good reviews could actually be your huge differentiator. How recent are the reviews? I know what you do. You all do it. Every now and then you're like, oh crap, I haven't touched that in a while. So you go back in and you message everybody and email everybody to say, we need reviews. So I get it. I understand that, but you want them to be consistent all the way through. They also should be specific and detailed and not just fluffy bullshit, right? You don't want it to be like, I loved working with DJY. Cool, great. But when you're asking them to write a review, get specific with your ask. Say like, here's a few things we would love for you to highlight. Who did you work with? What specific team members really made you feel special? Like, what was your favorite part about working with our company, or your favorite moment from wedding day, or things like that? Like, ask them to be specific. And then do you read and reply to them? Like, it's really important for you to reply. And the best part about Google is you can just go back and reply to them all. I like to do this with alcohol because if there's a nasty review in there, it makes me feel a lot better if I've had a few glasses of wine. So I open the wine, I go in, I open ChatGPT, and I'll put them in, and then I just reply, 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 reply. If you've never done that, it's no big deal. You can go back and do it. If you have 300 reviews and you've never done it, just go back the last like 8 to 10 months. Don't go back any further than that. I know you ask for reviews and you're sitting there and you're like, nobody reviews me. I ask Shannon. And you're like, great, she's telling me to do this, but how do I get more? So here's a few things you can do to get more reviews. First, start talking about the reviews at the start of the sales process. Meaning when you're in a sales meeting or if you have an email follow-up template or things like that, make sure you're saying, have you had a chance to read our reviews? They're really important to our small business. That's like one of my favorite secret tips. Like use the words like reviews are important to our small business. It helps the next people considering us like figure out if we're the right fit for them. Remind them if you do a final meeting with them, whether it's a final walkthrough or a details planning meeting or whatever, remind them that you're going to ask for the reviews after the fact and be like, are you guys willing to write me an honest review? You need that verbal commitment. There's the psychology of sales says they've already committed to it. They're more likely to do it. You should be following up at least 3 times. Go ahead. This is an eye roll moment. I don't have time for that shit, Shannon. I get it. But you should be following up at least 3 times because the statistics change from it's like 30% of people are willing to write a review if you follow up 1 time. But if you follow up 3 times, it goes to like 85%. Massive change with that third follow up. You can also bribe them, right? So when I used to work at the venue, we were a hotel. What can you give them that you know they want? If you're a photographer, can you give them a free print if they go and they write it and they put it on all 3 links you gave them? What can you give them? My podcast co-host on the Wedding Sassholes, Vanessa, she's a cake baker. She gives them an anniversary cake. So if they fill out the review and they put it on all 3 links, she gives them a free anniversary cake. If they come back, a small 1 tier for them to celebrate, whatever. Figure out what can you do if you're finding you're doing all the things and they're not writing it. Figure out what you can do to get them moving. Okay, this next one's rough. Nobody referred to you, you're a jerk. I mean, listen, on wedding day, we have to work, and event day, we have to work as a team. You can't just show up and make it all about you, right? So when you're a venue or a planner, which are the heaviest referrals right through, these are the kinds of things they're looking for. Do you follow the freaking rules? First, did you learn what the rules are, especially if you're at a venue? But do you follow the rules? Are you a good representation of me in the way you dress and act? Like, do you show up and act like an a-hole? Are you not nice to the clients? Like, do you not respond quickly? Like, all of those things matter in terms of who I want to refer. It's super important. Do you work together as a team during the event? One of my favorite like catering moments is on the way to a wedding, the truck broke down on the highway with all the food and all the things. Well, I pulled up in my car, took all the linen out, and I went and set up all the linen on site at the venue while we rented another truck. I mean, trucks are back to back on the highway. We're pushing the carts over. It was madness. But in the meantime, I got there and the florist was like, thank God you have the linen because then they could all do their jobs. I dropped all the linen and then I helped the florist. I was filling water. I was doing all the things. As soon as that truck showed up, that florist was done and they started helping us unload carts and set up. They were polishing silverware. It was like the best freaking day it could be. Let me tell you, that was probably in 2006, the amount of money that I have referred to that company because of that one experience. Like when the shit hits the fan, we have to band together, right? So like, do you work together as a team? Are you flexible with the timeline? I mean, it'd be great if everything follows exactly the way it was planned, but it doesn't. So are you flexible? Do you have good communication? And are you positive? I mean, you like, I don't want to be around and refer people and work with you on event day when you're like negative Nancy and the world is burning. I mean, the world is literally burning this week for some people. But I don't want to talk about it. These weddings this weekend, we're not talking about the election. Do you hear me? Every single one of you, I vow to not talk about what happened this week at anybody's special day this weekend because you don't know how that person is reacting. So be positive, keep it light, keep it fun. So how do you fix this? Can you just freaking smile? Do you know how many people are so like stressed and frustrated on event day? Figure out a better system. Smile, be nice, be happy, get your stuff, get everything set up, and then can you offer to help? Like, does anybody in that room on that day, if you have the time and the capability, it's like, do you need anything from me before I go? Also, make sure you take the time to meet the entire staff. Somebody who worked at a venue, my venue was set up really unique. I was sales, and as soon as the contract signed, they passed over to the service managers. I literally never talked to the couple again. But I was the marketing face of the venue. So at things like networking events and touring vendors, everybody used to kiss my ass. Well, guess who was not the referrer? Me. Katie, who was the coordinator, she was the one doing all the referrals. So make sure at the venues you're at or the places you work, or if the photographer has a photographer assistant, like meet everybody, because you never know who could be a really strong referral, and be kind to them all. Be confident and not cocky. Use your pleases and thank yous, please. And then plan the timeline out with all of the people involved. The biggest like fail I see, and I went to a family wedding 3 weeks ago, that could be its own presentation of the 500 fails because my family member did not hire a planner. The bar was scheduled from 4 to 9. That's dumb. Ceremony started at 4. The caterer was scheduled from 6 to 8:30. The venue went till 11, and the DJ was until 10:30. It was everything that could go wrong about that wedding. So the bar closes and they're packing up to leave, and the family's like, "What's happening?" The caterers have all left, and I was like, "Well, I guess I'm the busser now." Like, what is happening right now, right? You guys have to work together as a team. If there's not a planner, can you partner with the caterer? Like, you got to have that 10-minute call beforehand to make sure we're all on the same page. You do things like that, you're not the jerk and people want to refer you. Instead, on event day, that DJ pushed me back so hard. Like, I walked over to him and was like, "The caterer's not here. I need you to play the whole first dance, like the whole song for all the dances." And he's like, "Well, that's not what the couple wants." And I'm like, "The food is not in the building. I need every minute that you can bill me." And I don't care if it was you were going to play 60 seconds, play the 3 minutes. If the couple complains later, I'll tell them why. They're my family. Let it go. Like, but like, be a team member. Do you think I'll ever tell anyone about that DJ? No, he was an a-hole. It was all about him and what he wanted and his show. You got to work together as a team, because those are the people I want to refer. Okay, number 6, you're not the shiny penny anymore. Oh, this really hurts if you've been in the industry a long time. See, I'm like almost 20 years in, which makes me sound old, but it is what it is. But there is always the next best thing coming up behind you, right? So if you've been in the industry and you're super well established, you've got to work a little bit harder, because people want the next shiny penny. I don't know about Atlanta, but in Orlando, that stupid sepia edit is coming back where everybody looks brown and orange in the photography. And like, it's cool and it's trendy, and the couples keep asking us for those people. And I'm like, "Are you sure it's not really timeless?" Like, okay, here you go. You got to figure out what makes you different, and you have to at least know what's trending and what the next best things are. Things like conferences and education, like you're at today, you've got to stay ahead in with whatever you do with what's coming. You should show up consistently at networking events and things like that. People forget about you. We have a photographer in Orlando. She shows up once a year, and she didn't show up for like 2 years with COVID, still working. But somebody said to her at the next networking event, "Oh, I thought you went out of business." And she wanted to cry. And I'm like, "Well, you kind of got to show up every now and then at more than just at weddings with the same 8 people you work at every week, with every weekend." Know things like pop culture in your category, get that continued education. Whether or not you're going to post on TikTok, you damn sure should better be consuming content on wedding TikTok. Do you remember like a year and a half ago when that get your haircut during cocktail hour popped off? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not on TikTok. But it became trendy to get a haircut during cocktail hour. Like, if you're a hair and makeup company and you don't know that that's the madness that people are suggesting they do, like, you've got to be able to combat it, but you have to know it's trending. Also, remember, the older you get in the industry, sometimes we need to hire some youngins. Everyone on my team, I'm 44. Every single person on my team is under the age of 35, because they look through it during of the lens of the client. And then just remember to like be the first in your market rather than playing catch up. Be the first person to launch things, come out with things, have new equipment and new stuff that no one's ever seen before, rather than you're the last DJ on the market to buy Cold Sparks. Like, you look lame and out of date, because now those ones who've had it for 2 years are now on to the next thing. Oh, this one's hard for me because I am a shit talker. No, number 7 is you're a shit talker. You come to networking events. Like, I know everybody's drama in Orlando. Like, I'm Bravo TV in Central Florida. I know everybody's tea. I know everybody's drama. When something happens, I'm the first to find out all the things, but I keep my mouth shut. I'm a vault. You'll never hear. I mean, my team knows all the drama, and my boyfriend literally at the end of every day is like, "What happened today?" and is eating popcorn, wants to follow the soap opera of the wedding industry. You can't be that person. Please stop talking about how much you hate your job or complaining about your clients at the event. It happens all the time. You know who I'm talking about, right? I say it and you're like, I know, think of one person in your head in the industry who like comes to networking events and is like, oh my God, I'm so tired. These next generation of clients are the worst. Like, shut up, then retire. Please. No one wants to refer that person. No one wants to do that person's stuff. You also need to stop sharing other people's business. The cake company that dropped the cake last night at the wedding you were at, shut up. It's not your job to tell everyone else what happened. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. Not. I worked at a venue once. The bride was allergic to nuts, and they fed her pesto at a rehearsal dinner. We almost killed her, literally. Like rushed her to the hospital, anaphylactic shock. It was bad. I mean, I PR saved it, so no one knew, but I went to every vendor in that room and was like, if you tell one person this happened, I swear to God, I'll kill all of you, right? Like, but don't share anybody else's business. Keep your business to yourself. Keep your own disaster stories. Sometimes people tell me the shit they've done, and I'm like, shut up. Like, stop. Like, just stop talking about it. Positive vibes only. All right, number 8. Oh, you're not as good as you think you are. Like, listen, when you've been doing it a long time, or even you're fresh and shiny, you're like, I'm so good. But if you don't focus on cementing relationships with clients and go that extra mile to make them feel special and like above over the top, you won't win the referrals. You think you're amazing. That's cool. But what actually makes you different? What makes you better? Do you do more than just check the boxes of the bare minimum when it comes to working with a client on their event? Do you have awesome customer service start to finish? Do you make the referrer look good? Meaning, so great example. I referred a florist a ton when I worked in catering. Well, she knew that when we did butler platters, I love to put little flowers on them, and I really like to put flowers on the buffet. Well, she would every wedding bring me a bucket and be like, here you go. I brought my own little vases, but like she always gave me the extra flowers that weren't pretty enough to use in the good stuff. But I'm like, it's a butler platter. Who cares? You make my stuff look good when you help me. And what's your wow factor? Like, what do you do better than anybody else, different than everyone else? So, like, you've got to exceed expectations to turn people into referral fans, right? Be awesome at what you do. One of the other like things that's super important, I think, is sending an email for feedback. And I'll give you the template for this on the next slide. So if you haven't taken your phone out to take pictures, I'll just give you the template. But look for opportunities to wow. See, what happens at an event is that whether, especially if you have a team, so maybe you've got a big team of people, or I don't know, you're a DJ and you've got 5 DJs that go out, or you're a photographer and you've got associates. They go out and work the event, but you're not there. So you don't really know what happened that night. You know what they told you. So one of the things that should be part of your standard flow, even if you're a solo and it's only you, is that on the Monday or Tuesday after, you should be sending an email to the venue, the planner, whatever. We loved working with on your team here. Give a specific compliment. We believe that all feedback is the best way for us to grow. Take a few minutes, share your honest opinion, how we did. We're looking for ways to improve. So I taught a florist how to do this. She sent the email on Monday to the venue. The venue was the Four Seasons that she was on the list for. The venue wrote back and was like, thank you so much for sending me this over. I wasn't sure how to say this, but your team did a lot of on-site prep in this side room that we gave them, and they left it a disaster. There was stems everywhere, leaves all over the floor. The room was a mess. And we honestly, like, my director said, take them off the list. And we love working with you and we don't want to take you off the list, but like, I don't really know what to do at this point. Well, because she sent that email and asked that question, it gave her an opportunity to save that relationship. If you're never asking, how did we do and how do we do better? Right? We had a cake company. I worked at like a really nice hotel, and the cake company always showed up to deliver in jeans. You would think it doesn't matter. It mattered to our general manager. It mattered that I referred you and you showed up in ripped denim to deliver the cake, because they don't know that cake didn't just come out of my kitchen, right? Guests in the hotel. So you have to ask for the feedback. And guess what he told me to do? Take the cake lady off. Well, I did, because that's what I got told to do, but she never asked why she wasn't getting referrals again. And all it was her stupid pants. So think about what are opportunities where you can go a little extra. You can be above and beyond awesome. Like you need to give a little bit more if you want referrals. People have to understand what makes you better, different, and unique. Number 9 is maybe you haven't earned it yet. See, you might be great at what you do, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to add you to my list of people I want to do business with, right? So usually what I'm looking for when I'm looking for new referral partners, I'm looking for a few successful events. I'm looking for feedbacks from actual clients. So this is why it's important for you to gather reviews because then you can send me there. Ultimately trust is earned. I'm not just going to give it up, right? If I go to a restaurant and it's okay and you're like, I'm coming to Orlando, where should I eat? I'm not giving you the restaurant that's okay. It's the restaurant that was exceptional and awesome and that we've been there, a few times. So you can do things like start to anticipate the needs, right? You can share your expertise, right? If you once a year send out an email about the top 10 things that are trending in floral or the most popular dance songs that you've probably never heard of if you're over 40, because I don't freaking know, right? Like share your expertise and the knowledge you have to build that trust. One of the photographers in Orlando, when I worked at the venue, she was like, I know you already have a stellar list. If you're ever in a bind, obviously I'm newer. My schedule's not as packed as everyone else's. If you ever have a cancellation, a no-show, they hired like a friend who sucks and you are stuck, here's my direct cell phone number. You call me anytime, tell me your cell phone number and I'll answer. Well, guess what? I had to tap her in. So she wasn't on my list, but she was my in case of emergency. And she showed up and she got on the list. So it's okay to be like, let me be your in case of emergency. Also, you can do some sneaky things to work to get in front of all their clients, meaning like if you're trying to build that relationship, go, and we all want comments on social, right? Engagement matters. Go and comment on all their social media posts. Look at how smart these people are. This is a venue in New Jersey. Allison and Michael said yes. Look at all these Starlight Music, Love Lens Photography, another photographer, Unique Mistake. I don't know what they do. Pearl Paper Studio. All these people commented. The couples are looking to see, they're looking at these things to be like, who do these people work with? So you don't think that, Allison and Michael are like, oh my God, I wonder who that photographer is. Down the rabbit hole of Instagram is what they do. So you can go hunting on social media. So I'm going to teach you a quick tip. Shelly, I'm going to go 4 minutes over. I'm warning you. I'm just going as fast as I possibly can. Here's a quick of how you can go find couples on Instagram. So go to the venue and you're going to click on following. When that little box pops up, those followers are chronological. So what that means is you're going to go start clicking on them and you're looking for the engagement picture, the ring emoji, the future Mrs. So-and-so where she's tagged so, and you go in and start following the couples that are already booked at that venue. Or they're considering that venue, but go start building relationships on Instagram in advance. Oh, last but not least, your business is not their priority. People don't refer you because it's just, you're not top of mind. Like they don't, unless somebody asks for what you've got, they're just not thinking about like they're not on your mind all the time. So here's a few things that you can do. They just forget about you. You can incentivize them or their clients. So let's say you're a DJ and you want to work with a planner more often. So maybe you say, and you've got a great relationship with her. You're like, hey, listen, you know what we want to do for every client you refer us that books, we're going to give 4 free uplights. Whether they only have the 4 or they book a package of 10 and we add 4 on, whatever that looks like. But for the fact that you refer us, we appreciate it. And this is what we're going to do. Don't think now that planner doesn't every single time her clients need a DJ, she thinks about you because you've incentivized it, right? I don't believe in discounts. Don't discount. Don't discount and don't give kickbacks. I hate that shit. If you can get away with it, that's fine if it makes sense for your business. But, and then just have a year-long top of mind marketing plan. You've built relationships. You have people sitting in that room that probably refer you now. How are you petting and loving on them? How do you remind them that you're here? We had it was a DJ, and every single event we did, he knew me and the admin's coffee order. And every wedding he showed up on, he went to Starbucks, so he brought us coffees. Every wedding, every time. Don't you think the admin referred him as much as possible? Stupid Starbucks is enough to bribe her. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Also, remember that like what we do is seasonal. Every market's got a slow season. So make sure that during your slow season, yeah, take the vacation, take the break, but that's the time to pet and love on people. Don't try to be like, put me on your list in November. Shut up. Don't do that. No one wants to be there. Listen, people forget about you, and it's one of the reasons that you are failing at getting more referrals. And I know some of these things you're listening to are like, damn, there's Shannon just gave us 400 things I have to go fix. Welcome to ever seeing me present and learn from me, because this is what it's like every single time. It's a fire hose. I just open it up and I'm like, figure it out, go do it. You are probably the problem when it comes to these things. So you've got to do, it doesn't take very much in today's world to be legendary. It doesn't. You have to do this much more than that competitor sitting in that same room as you, this much more than them to be awesome. You just got to level it up a little bit, make a few tiny little changes, and it has a huge impact. So I'm a firm believer, we don't learn without action. So whether you share with a friend in the room before you leave, what's the one thing? I just gave you 700 things you could do. Please leave that room today with the one thing that before the end of this month, it's early in November, before the end of November, the one thing out of all of these things that you're going to work on to go through. If you need help, I don't do a lot of private coaching. I usually only work with venues the majority of the time. But if you need help or an Instagram audit or a website audit or anything like that, I don't know. Give me a call, send me an email, whatever, but not till after Wedding MBA, because I'm going to cry if I take on one more thing before next week. So I hope you guys learned some amazing stuff. If you need help, if you need support, but just remember that like referrals can be the lifeline of your business. There's a huge opportunity for you in a time that you're doing wedding shows and you're investing in your marketing and your energy and your effort. There's such an opportunity for you to be able to continue grow those relationships. So, and I'm done. But I can't hear anything on your side.
We're clapping. We're clapping.
Okay, I can hear you.
Do you have time for a couple questions?
I do. I'm good.
Does anyone have a question? I have a question.
Oh no. Here we go.
Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna ask my question and then I want to leave.
Yeah.
What's that?
There you go. Now you're looking.
I don't know where to look. Stare at this thing?
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so these people all behind me, they come monthly for this networking group.
Yes.
You know, some come the first time, some come every time, and they meet and everyone's friendly, but what do they need to do? Like, like they're like, hey, how you doing? But how do they get to the next point beyond this person was friendly?
Yeah.
So like getting the referrals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. And like, not everybody may agree with my opinion, but I think it's okay when you're at a networking event to remember that not everybody is the right fit for you. So if you're meeting someone, and I'm going to be a planner because, right, like every vendor in that room wants planners and venues. We all know it. Let's not pretend like it's a secret. So I'm going to be the planner, and you come up and meet me and you're like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. There's things I specifically want to know about you. Who's your ideal client that you work with? What's your actual price point range? Right? Because you've got to know what makes you unique and different. And if you're just meeting people and it's like, it's so nice meeting you, it's so great, we see each other every month. But if I start to ask, what does that person actually do? What makes them different? Because like, we have a few new photographers up and coming. They're super affordable. But when they come to networking events, they don't lean in on what makes them different. So instead of like walking up to a planner and being like, I've been following you on social media, like, here's my company name. Well, you've been commenting. So she's like, oh, I know that name. Right? Like you're taking that relationship, but it's what makes you different. And why do our clients align? Because maybe they don't. Right? Maybe you're the affordable photographer and you want to be at the Four Seasons. Never gonna happen. Right? But it's okay to be able to figure out who's your person, who else do you want to meet in the room? Because maybe I come every month so I can pass you to someone else. But if someone is like, damn, we might be able to do business, let's, before we walk out of this room, schedule the next thing. Let's go get coffee, have lunch, breakfast. I hate lunch. I'm a breakfast girl. Give me breakfast or happy hour. You're not messing my whole freaking day. Right? So you want to get up in the morning and have breakfast with me, or do we want to go for cocktails and coffee at 4? Fine. But like, then before you leave, be like, I think there might be some great synergy, that I have clients that might be good for you. But it's about what can you do for them, not just what can they do for you. But take it outside of that event. Or if you're going to come every month, like Shelly was saying, if you're one of those frequent flyers, you know what I do at our local meetings? When people are like, oh, I want to get together, I'm like, oh my God, we're meeting at the hotel. Let's meet up beforehand, or let's stay for lunch afterwards. Right? If you're already taking the time away, just utilize that after the fact.
Okay, thank you. All right, hold on, one more question.
Yeah.
Dana, you have a question? Oh, hi.
I'm Danny Weiss, photographer. My question.
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Okay, my question is, as a photographer, I always send the photos to all my vendors. I'm shocked how many don't bother to download them,
Yeah.
number one. Two, or even log in to see the whole folder of them. Do you have any suggestions on what to do? Because I always provide photos to every event that I do and offer the option to get on the website to I'll pick out a few and send them. And then I also will send them the entire job. They can pick out whatever they want. I send them whatever they want. What do you do if people just don't bother as a venue or as a planner or, I mean, I've been doing this a very long time and it
Yeah.
just bothers me that they won't, if I take the effort to make the images that they can have for free,
Right.
what do you suggest I do?
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna rattle off everything that popped into my head. So number one, which I think you're already doing, but we'll say for everyone else, is that I, as a venue, I loved when people sent me a gallery of 1,000 images, but I wanted to cry. I don't have time to download them all, sort through them, go through. You know your best Whompers. So if you're not saying like, hey guys, here's the whole gallery and here's my favorites, and you're thinking 3 cake shots, a few Whompers from the empty room shots, right? Limit it down. Right? If I'm the DJ, I just need those 2 epic dance floor shots. I don't need 7,000. I don't have the time. So time is of the essence. So if you're not doing that, which sounds like you might already be, so if you have a favorites folder, that's amazing. And I appreciate that. I think it's just remembering that like everybody's in a different state. So I was the venue that hoarded, I had the biggest library of images. I hoarded every photo that ever came in because I knew I was going to use them. But I was a venue that we had 3 full-time people in the sales team, a full-time marketing person. I had different needs than Susie the barn down the street that's only doing 20 weddings a year, right? So I think one of the things you could do in slow season to continue to grow a relationship is maybe you could curate a folder for just those venues or just those planners that's like, hey there, I know you haven't had time all year long to touch this, download this. Here's the top 50 photos I took from your venue this year. And it in like a Dropbox or a go, so like I don't have to go into a play or like Pixie Set or whatever. All those stuff is fine, but give me the things that's just mine and hit me when it's I have time to actually do it. So I think that that's one of the biggest pieces, but I also think that with the functionality of collaborations in Instagram, screw them if they don't use it. Just invite them to collab. So meaning when you
They still don't add it. I'm like, what the hell?
okay, wait. So let me give you one more tip with that. When you invite them to collab, I now need you to send them a DM behind it that explains what a collaboration is. So
Okay.
what you do is you send them the collab and either send an email that says, hey there, like we've invited your account to collab. I'm going to post content. All you have to do is accept it and it goes on your wall too. So it's, I will create content for your account. The hotels, they ain't touching that, but the small privately owned, they just don't know what it is. So
Yeah.
send them the DM or send them an email letting them know that you've invited them to collaborate. And if they accept it, then what happens? Once we started doing that, changed the whole game and they all accept it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mike, you have a question?
I was just gonna piggyback on the answer to that. So, I'm Mike with TLC Rents. We're a vet rental company. We found that, we will post our social media, we will post, the pictures that when someone like you sends the shots and says, hashtag is this, this, and this, and this, it's very simple for us to take those photos and give it just like you asked for it on Facebook and Instagram. So you're doing the legwork for us. And then we're happy to do a shout out or a mention within that. And
Sounds like,
Don't.
but it sounds like you gotta make it a little simpler.
I can share with multiple venues where I ask them to collaborate and they don't even touch it. And I'm like,
that, I
your
don't think
name, your
that's
hashtag,
yeah.
your blog, and
Yeah.
I should send you the blog and like everything is free for them to, you know.
It's just time. It all comes down to time. There's not enough minutes for any of us who run a business. And so
Yeah.
it just comes down to like, I have a team that rocks Instagram. People follow my personal Instagram. I'm like, oh, don't expect much. I post 4 times a year. Like it's not my sweet spot because that's not where I do business. And unfortunately, we are moving into a direction where those visuals are 100 times more important, but not only as photo, it's the video. And if you were making reels of like a slideshow of those images, I'm more likely to accept that than I am just the photo.
Does anyone else have a question before we wrap this up? No? You guys
Can anyone shout out one thing that they're taking away, so Shannon could feel like you heard, that you. Andrea. All right, Andrea said work on her Google business account.
Yeah, that one's an easy one.
Yes, ask for feedback. I like that one. Good. Any other life lessons? Commenting on other vendors' posts? Smile. That's a good one. I think you got that, Gary.
We're so stressed on event day. I get it. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to learn so much stuff. If you have any questions, need any help, Shelly and I have been trying to coordinate to physically get me there for and I'm like, can we just do Zoom and keep this going? Like that way we can get it done.
I want to get her there for a WIPA event. We're going to work on that next.
Yeah, let me know how I can help. And hopefully whoever's coming to Vegas, our booth that we have is venue help desk. So we target venues, but even if you are not a venue, please stop by the booth, come say hi, be like, I saw you speak last week and come to my sessions.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a great day.